What's going on, Brookie Nation? How are ya?
Hey.
Welcome to the Storybrooke Circus. I am the Mackie Mouse.
I am Isla Sikorsky.
And you have stumbled on into our Once Upon a Time television review podcast. Thank you for joining us. We are now on episode 28. Woo. 28, almost on the big 3-0. It's a milestone.
Yikes. I feel like we just did 20.
I know, really. We were just talking about 10 too. I guess it's crazy that we're that far in. But yeah, this is a podcast that we started so that we can enjoy a piece of TV history that came out 10 years ago. We're actually coming up on the 10-year anniversary in like a couple months. But is it the 10th like year anniversary since this show came out in 2011 and it's 2021. And we're reviewing every single episode, one by one, and we're giving it ratings, and we're going in depth on characters and plot lines and all that other good stuff. So if you like that kind of thing and you dig Once Upon a Time, you are in the right place. For all of our brookies who are returning, thank you for coming back. We love and adore you.
We love you so much.
You guys are awesome. You guys have been turning out with your contributions to the show, and everybody's been chatting it up on Discord, and we'll be talking about a little bit of that later. We'd always like to say hi to our YouTube brookies. Hi,
Miranda.
Hi, Miranda and Leo for watching. We do a little a video recording of our pre-show in case you want to see some of the antics. Some of them are visual, so we like to throw that up on YouTube.
We straight up forget that we're doing this almost every single episode.
So you can just look at us space off or fall asleep sometimes, or and like try to get my dog not to burn my house down while I'm recording.
I have literally
stuff.
never fallen asleep recording the show. I don't know why you keep on saying that. You said it last week too, and it's just a defamation of character. I am going to sue you.
Anyway, yeah, so we have the YouTube, we have the socials as well, which we will talk about soon. We also, a part of that, we don't have a Snapchat, but we have been pushing our Snapchat filter. We made an exclusive Storybrooke Circus Snapchat filter called The Price of Gold. If you go on there and explore and search, you will see that pop up. It's a face tattoo filter in case you're into that kind of thing. So if you find it and you would like to use it, please tag us at our various social accounts, which we'll talk about right now, of how to reach out to us as we get into our first segment, which is a segment dedicated to all of you out there. Oh, wait a minute. We're not going to do that yet. I totally forgot. I'm just reading notes now. I'm just on fucking autopilot.
What are we doing?
We are gonna. I've just been rambling on while my brain is thinking about something else, and Isla laughs at me.
We have to be fully transparent. We have been recording for a lot longer than when we said hi to you guys. We spaced off so bad. So we've been recording right now for 3 minutes and 20 seconds, when in fact our recorded file is currently running at 24 minutes. And if you want us to be extra transparent, we literally ranted and raved about the show The Good Place for a solid 15 of those 20-something minutes.
Because the guy that created The Good Place also created Parks and Rec, so then we also started talking about Parks and Rec, because that's just what we do.
Our entire life revolves around TV shows.
Yeah,
so if you're ever wondering if we're going to stop doing these style podcasts, the answer is no.
No, the answer is no.
Our library of things that we need to watch is infinite.
It is gigantic. Oh my God, thank you so much. Yes. No, sit down, please. It's fine. It's okay. Our adoring fans. I got ahead of myself. Excuse me very much. If you use the Snapchat filter, go to the SBC pod on Instagram. Tell us that you did it. Besides that, we have exciting stuff to talk about before we get into our first segment. So now I will host the show correctly. It is that we are taping the show a little bit early, and we're trying to make it a little bit shorter because we have exciting things going on this week, like extra super exciing.
What are these exciting things? I'm going to tell you. Thank you for asking.
Please tell them. Tell the people what they've won.
I'm going on vacation. And I'm going on vacation.
To me.
To go see Mackie. We're going to Disney for the week. Super excited. It is my husband Bart's birthday, so I'm really excited to celebrate him in the happiest place on earth.
Absolutely.
The most magical place on earth, whatever. With Harper, and then Mackie obviously lives in the castle, so we're going to get to meet up with him and his wife Taryn, and I'm so excited. And our best friends, Jessie and her family, and like we're just like a nice little band, and we are getting back together, and we are gonna tour the world of Disney.
We're gonna do it again. I need to get a sound effect that's even louder cheers than that, because I feel like now that I used that clap, I need like a real stadium crowd. Yeah. Like a roar of
like Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
When whoever was there.
Because that's what this moment needs. So yeah, so Isla and friends and family, Isla and family are coming with another family, and we are going to have a grand old time. We have a lot of exciting things planned. And so because of that, we wanted to try really, really hard not to skip an episode this week. I know that we said in the beginning, we were like, if we want to skip episodes, we're going to skip episodes. But we're getting really excited about the response we're getting from you guys. So now we're like,
we also just have fun doing it.
We really do.
It doesn't feel like work.
It doesn't feel stressful. It doesn't feel like work. We really do have a good time.
We just show up and just do it. So every time we're like, we can skip, we're kind of like, but we don't.
But we, as creators, don't want to. And it's not even just because we feel like you guys are going to abandon us, because we don't think you are. It's just that we wouldn't want to if we were listeners of our own show. Like, we're like this. And we want to get into the meatier stuff in the show, too. We have to just like keep going. So we're taping kind of right after taping the last one and releasing the last one, because she's going to be here like soon. And you said like 48 hours.
Less than 48 hours, actually, at this point.
We'll already be putting out stories and talking to each other in real life in 48 hours.
We'll have spent 3 days together before the episode drops.
Oh my God, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. No, stop saying the same thing.
Yeah, we should.
We just all said the same thing for
we do that
6 words
more often than you guys hear on the show. We actually did it somehow in text message form the other day.
That happened, yeah.
More than once, actually, in the same conversation where we immediately texted each other the same thing back to back. Yeah, we do that a lot. I think now that we hang out so much virtually, of course, I think we're just starting to inherit each other's tendencies and speech and everything. And we were already started as twinnies, so it's getting even crazier. Anyway, so yeah, the exciting things happening in real life. I am still super busy with work and stressed and overwhelmed, but we're getting into spooky season down here in Florida. So there's, for those of you who like Halloween, there's like a lot of Halloween things going on too. There's a lot of course, this is event season down here too. So there's we're gearing up. Halloween, Christmas, and New Year's are all back to back, and everybody's getting ready for things that are happening.
The 50th anniversary.
Oh, the 50th anniversary starts in like a little bit over a month, and Ratatouille cast preview started a couple days ago. There's just like so many things
Remy the Rat is coming.
So many. So everybody's buzzing right now, and it's making a high energy level, which is both good and bad because it's a little bit frantic, but it's kind of cool when it gets here because it's like, when that energy level gets up, I guess the excitement also goes up too, and then obviously
the payoff is just going to be so big. Like it's going to be so worth it when this is out. Like I can't believe I've watched this in real time unfold for over a year now, and then it's like gonna come to
fruition.
Yep.
Fruition. Fruition.
I almost said fruition, so whatever.
It's close. It's close enough for you not to be judged. I mean, you're never going to get judged on this show. Not by me. Maybe by some of our listeners, but not by me. But yeah, I mean, we've been together and me being working on it for so long, and me being like, oh man, this is really crazy. This is a lot of things are going on. It's going to be so exciting when it finally comes out. So, obviously things have already been announced, and everybody's going to see it one way or another. Everybody's going to see it really soon. So, and that's just that. And then Harmonious is also coming out. So there's a lot of like Disney things happening. Not to mention other Disney like news things that are happening, not all of which are great. Internally and externally, there's like some just fallout from COVID and all these other things, and everybody's trying to deal with this new it's just like a lot of things in life that are going on.
Busy, but we're still showing up.
But you know what, Isla's coming here and we're prepped up for vacation. I mean, I'm not on vacation, but I'm doing like a mini vacation. Hopped onto your vacation.
We're being safe, I am a very strong advocate for that. So
we are, yes. We are not.
This is not, willy-nilly
people.
Yeah. So yeah, we're excited.
But yeah. You should probably see a bit of stuff on our personal social medias, and I guess we can post some stuff to SBC Pod.
We also promised to take like a nice picture, so like we'll do it. We always say that we're going to, and then we never do. So we'll get there.
I think there's going to be a lot more. We've had what, 2 trips now that you've come down for, that we've gotten together on. Was it 2? No, it was just the one. I think we met up a couple times. Or was it 2 actual separate
trips? No, it was 2.
Okay.
The one when it was just me and Bart, and then Harper's birthday.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Because then you came in. So now that we kind of have it down, the logistics of like meeting up and like all the in-person stuff, I feel like we're comfortable enough now to really get the media going in terms of like vlogs and stories.
Our group is just like not about that. Like all of us collectively are just like, we just have so much fun.
I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Virtually or not.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Because like stories,
it's just really important to us, like to just, we're laughing the entire time. Anytime, whether it's literally hanging out with us and our spouses after we finish recording online for like an hour, or when we're actually like physically together, it does not stop. Like it's nonstop. We're making jokes, we're telling stories, and it's just such a good time. And there's just, at the end of the night, we're like, oh yeah, we forgot to take a picture. So like we take a really low quality selfie, but it's a high quality evening or day or stuff like that. So I don't know, that's worth way more to me than the like nice picture that we could have possibly gotten.
Or like,
but we're gonna integrate all of those things,
like the stories and all of the like updating the strangers on the internet of what's going on in real life. I mean, to the tune of Sorry Not Sorry, shade no shade on people who do put stuff on social media all the time. I mean, I have to say that because my wife is one of those people. She puts everything up. She does reels on everything that we do. She also spends a lot of time making sure that doesn't take away from our real life experience.
Right. And I'm the same way on a lower level. I am not the social media queen like Taryn is, but like you never feel like she's only doing it to post about it.
Yes.
And that's how it feels sometimes with other things. And I just can't live my life like that. And my friend groups cannot live their lives like that because it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I mean, I guess what we're saying is it's not about, doing it or not doing it. Or there are some people who do that all the time. And we are people who are invested in what's going on right in front of us. So I guess it's just to say that because Isla's very much of the same mindset that I am, which is, I don't know why I'm speaking about you in the third person when I'm talking to you. There's no one talking back from people who are listening. We talk about this all the time. This is us talking to each other. No, you have the same mindset that I do, which is, the social media stuff is fun and cool when you're like bored and you have a minute, but like the people in front of you are still more important. Especially on a real life level of how they like really feel and like making sure that they're okay and like everything's cool. So like annoying the people that you're with by wanting to take everything is just, it's not worth it. And that's not to say that pulling your phone out and taking pictures is automatically going to annoy everybody. Because like I said, my wife does it all the time and we just learned to communicate with each other, and she runs off and shoots something and comes back and then it's like it never happened. She's not in my face doing it the entire time. The whole reason why we're here is not to capture stuff to get content. We're capturing content while we are also enjoying the time.
Yep.
But because she's really good at it, she's able to do both. I am not good at it, so I don't do both. So when my friends come to visit, I'm not like posting all these stories and these like well manicured reels and all these things about all the moments that were happening, because to me, like,
we're busy.
Giving that to the strangers is not my point. My point is I really want to spend all of the time with the people. Like, Isla's one of my best friends. One of my oldest friends from New York just came into town and I had dinner with her. And like, I talked to Isla pretty much I did it again. Fuck. I do. We talk like all day long every day. Like we're on text messages all the time. And I was MIA for that entire dinner because there was someone in front of me I hadn't seen for a long time, who I was just like investing all of my, like we were catching up and all this other stuff. We were walking around resorts and these things. So like, I do that with you and like we're super close. So like, I love you guys on the internet. You guys are great. And there are quite a few of you who I've stayed friends with for even, I would say for years, and there are people on there that I've just met who I love that I have that community to deal with, but I also try to prioritize my life and to say that the people who I really know do take priority over the people that I met virtually. I don't want you to feel bad, people who know me on the internet, who I'm friendly with. You have a special place in my heart too. It's just after the actual people in my life. I think that's reasonable, right?
Yeah.
To just be like, the people that I haven't met don't get the same like attention level that I give to people that I like. I'm really right. It's like a weird social media thing nobody talks about.
When Bart and I came down in April, Mackie and Taryn met up with us in Epcot for like a date. Like we all just hung out. Like we ate food, rode rides, had dinner, hung out, sat, talk shit, the usual. We were also, Taryn and I were both taking pictures, doing what we do. And then, but you know what became more important when we were waiting in line for a ride? FaceTiming my daughter at bedtime.
Oh, sure did. I love this story.
That's what my phone is for.
Yeah, no, 100%.
We left Harper in the loving care of her grandparents because we went away for 2 nights. And that's fine for all the parents out there that have parenting guilt. I understand that.
We're not shaming anyone. We really aren't.
My daughter was in the bathtub and she wanted to talk. So what did we do? We talked. And I would have skipped riding the ride if Harper wanted to continue talking to me.
Like,
I had no problem.
Walking onto the ride and 100 without hesitation answered. And I actually repeated that story to several people just to be like, that is really refreshing because we are in such a blinders mode all the time with like, just priorities in general of like, answering or like ignoring someone physically talking to you in front of you because you have to answer some text message or email from work or whatever. And you're like, that's not going anywhere. And it's not people being malicious. It's just, that's what we're programmed to do. It's this like immediate nature of.
We talked about this last week. Our free time is not our availability.
Yeah. It's not the same. Yeah. That's 100% true. And I think,
so for all of the YouTubers who are like, why is Isla sitting in the dark? It has just decided, the hurricane has decided to make its rounds back. So it's about to storm. So let me go turn on a light. Hold on.
Do that. I will talk to people. Yeah, I was going to say it got really dark out of nowhere because we didn't start that dark. But yeah, I think that same availability is not free time thing also applies to like the internet. Oh my God, you look so nice now. You look so great. Hello. I can see your beautiful face. I was just saying that, availability and free time not being the same, I think is also, it's not just true for the people it's also true for social media, which is just a character, right? Twitter. Who are you talking to? You're not talking to an individual person. Even if there are people who are following you, you're not talking to them. You're talking to like the air quote, they. And those people don't necessarily deserve the immediate first tier of your attention. Obviously, like I try to make solid relationships with every single person who reaches out to talk to me on the internet. I am very friendly with them. I try to, offer my knowledge up and, be as caring as I can. But the person who's in front of me talking is going to get my attention first. I'm sorry. Because that, I think, is how our social rules work. You know what I mean? Like your friend of a friend of a friend of a friend doesn't get priority over your brother. Like that doesn't work that way. And that's just how I kind of treat social media. So when we're out and taking stories, to me personally, distracts me away from living in that moment. So if it doesn't, I'll do it, which is why I do it once every 5 months. Because I can't emotionally and mentally handle narrating a story to people who are not talking back to me instead of like opening my eyes and being present in the space. But my wife, I don't know how she does it. She can compartmentalize that stuff, can do both at once. And I think I think both of those things are totally reasonable. But knowing what I know about me, I know I will be a less present person to the other people in the group if I'm doing too much. So I just started paring things down. But all of that is this very long-winded soapbox that we both got on about social media. And how people use social media. Obviously, you can hear it, and we talk about it all the time. We are broken. We are both broken.
The trauma.
It is the trauma. We are PTSD triggered by things that happen in our lives all the time, and so we are projecting. So don't take any of this stuff as like Lila and Mackie hate on people who use social media. This is really just like personal experience that we are being vague about, that we code into our conversations. But people do end up talking about these things in Discord. They like spin off about it, which I think makes for good conversation. But it really is true that like people get shamed for not sharing enough on the internet. I'm like, why? They were happy living their life. Like, why are you saying that they're not doing a job? They don't work for you on Instagram. I'm sorry. You don't pay them to tell you all of their reality stories. Like, what?
I am so guilty of coming on like my stories and being like, oh my God, sorry I'm so absent.
I'm sorry,
like I've been away. And then I think about it and I'm like, I'm not actually sorry in a little bit. Like not even a little bit. I'm literally not sorry.
Because you feel like people are going to penalize you for being gone. They're going to stop. All your numbers are going to go down or whatever. which is dumb.
And now, so I don't even know what. Oh yeah. So basically, we're gonna be around together all week long.
But I think we're ready. I think we're ready to get the
yeah.
balance now of
You'll
like
see us on social media together.
Yeah. It's really all we
with
were
our
saying
families.
is we're gonna
like
do
it's
more.
gonna be a real good time. So follow along because we're gonna show. When we just said we don't do that. We're gonna do that this time.
This time
you're going to see us.
There's also more of us this time, so I feel like this time it's gonna be more fun to like a bigger group. It's gonna be easier to like have stuff to show. And obviously Taryn's gonna show us all how to vlog because she is master vlog queen. Which is gonna be really fun. I think the reason why we're doing it this time is because it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
It's not because it's
catch me on the TikTok.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mackie's favorite app of all time.
Oh, I love me some TikTok. TikTok's the best. TikTok should be our bill of rights. Should just be
We're gonna
converted
make some
into
TikTok recipes and TikTok dances and.
She's referencing actual conversations that we've had in the last 48 hours about how
Mackie's a grumpy old man.
But it's only about specific things, and TikTok is like
it really
number
is.
2
Your
on that
crotchety
list.
old man only comes out in very specific circumstances.
And it's usually about girls, and it's not about the way
social media.
It's usually about girls that are too young abusing social media in ways that are I think mildly inappropriate.
Gross.
That's all. That's really and
it's valid.
I mean, I think that's still there, and there's plenty of things on TikTok that are great, but if I see one more 15-year-old put on makeup to look like a 21-year-old and hump the air repeatedly and call that a TikTok, I'm gonna kill myself. So that's really where I'm at.
But if you want mediocre Disney content, follow me on TikTok.
No, guys, Isla Sikorsky. Listen, find her on TikTok. You won't regret it because her shit is actually hilarious. I do appreciate content creators that actually create content, not just thirst traps to get attention. That's really my beef. Content creation, and you do it brilliantly because it's all your humor. It's just literally a peek into your brain. I'm
literally going to rebrand as a teen mom.
That's where all the money's at, right? That's where the traffic's at.
I really wish that wouldn't offend people. It would be truly so funny.
Will it though? There's way more offensive things on there than that.
I just think of that one girl. You probably haven't seen her. I follow her. She's so funny. She came up with this whole online persona that is clearly a joke, where she has a baby daughter and she pretends her name is Richard and she pretends that she's like this billionaire's wife. So she talks very monotone. She's like, "This is me and my daughter, Richard. We are so mad at my husband today." And I love her.
That's great. And listen, just make yourself a gag persona and who cares?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Who's gonna judge you? Like, whatever. Anyway, catch us on TikTok, on the Instagram, on the definitely YouTube, because now that I put that in that group and Taryn was in there and immediately she's like, I'm vlogging everything. Like she lives for this stuff, man. So it'll be really fun. Remember that time where I tried to jump into the first segment of the show in the first 5 minutes and was an idiot? And then we did
I'm so sorry.
20-minute diatribe on
take responsibility
on social media and why you should use it a certain way. You know what? The best part about this show for me is it is Storybook Daily Mirrors first, which we're about to go into. But the second thing is that I never have any fucking idea what's going to happen. It's just,
nope.
It is absolute chaos.
We just out here. We
literally just out here, and that is why I love doing it. So thank you, Isla. You're doing amazing.
Thank you so much.
You really are. The best partner in like
sending
the
you
whole
claps
world.
right back.
Thank you. Oh yeah, you can't do that because you don't have a soundboard too, but we do have some additional soundboard cues that are specifically dedicated to you, which we won't use yet. We have to find the right moment. It has to.
Yep.
It has to present itself.
Yeah.
And I think we'll know when it happens. It'll be really awkward and great. Anyway, as I not so subtly alluded to, we're going to go into our first segment called the Storybook Daily Mirror. All right, so the Storybook Daily Mirror is the segment dedicated to you. It's when you all contribute to the show via a bunch of different places, Instagram, emails, DMs, the whole nine, Apple reviews. So Isla is going to go through the list of ways, if you are interested in submitting to the Storybook Daily Mirror, have your voice be heard, sometimes literally, but also sometimes just in text. Tell the people how they can get in on this fun. Get in here, y'all.
If you're just looking for a regular job, this isn't the place for you. But if you're looking for a career, the Storybook Circus is where it's at. Please apply by giving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, telling us how much you love this show. You can also email us, the sbcpod@gmail.com. That same name, the SBC Pod, can be found on Instagram. You can also give us a call. You can call us. That phone number is
207-536-8512. Take it away.
You don't feel like leaving a voicemail? You can also text that same number, and we will read or listen to all of those things on the air.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Isla, for that wonderful rundown of the Storybook Daily Mirror features. What? Features? They're not features. The ways that you can get in. We really, really want to hear from you.
I have no idea what to call that.
I guess they're... because they're not requirements.
Just do it.
Really, we want to hear back from you. Anything that you like about the show, I can tell you right now. If well, you're not going to hear this now. I wish I had said this in a bunch of episodes before, but if you're going back and listening, you know, if you listen to this and you're like, I want to go back and listen to the beginning of the show, and you're listening to like episode 3, call us anyway. We would love to talk about some random shit you just saw from like 7 months ago when we started the show.
Absolutely
like,
does not need to be current.
Yeah.
No.
Or just talk about your day or something that reminded you of this show or Once Upon a Time randomly. Or just tell us hello and where you're from. That's cool too. We really just want to hear from as many people as possible. And we know you guys have thoughts about this show. We know, because the people who have
we know you're listening. We have analytics.
We do. We
know you're here.
We can see you. You guys are like showing up. Our numbers keep climbing. We can see it. So yeah, please get in on the show. You don't have to have your voice heard if you're like voice phobic about leaving voicemails, but you can totally do text or even our Instagram DMs. Just let us know what you think about everything. So this week we've had a lot. Recently, we've had emails and text messages, and people have really been showing up. We have a little bit of a lull today because we actually finally got through our backlog of emails and all these people who are participating. And
we're recording immediately after the episode was released from last week.
Yeah. We really are. So there's not actually a lot of time in between each one. So whatever anybody submits to this, we'll just kind of keep reading for the next one. But as we were bullshitting before, like when we hit record, but before we actually started the show, we were
literally mad at ourselves for not starting earlier. But it was a sign.
I'm so glad we did.
That we were supposed to be having this conversation, because while we were doing it,
something happened. We got a voicemail. Voicemail comes in. Breaking news. Someone literally dropped one in like an hour ago while we were talking. So we got it, and we hadn't started recording it, so we're gonna include it on this show. Why not?
We're gonna do it now
next week, because the heck with that. So this person's gonna actually get to hear their thing like immediately. So without further ado, here is Lucas.
I'm working.
Nope, that's the middle of the message. We're gonna go back to the beginning so we can hear the whole thing. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Lucas. I am probably the biggest fan of Once Upon a Time ever. I've watched the show countless times, and I just recently found your podcast. I think I'm on episode 9 of season 1. I'm working on getting caught up, but I have a few things that have kind of bugged me about the podcast. Like, you keep saying that things have been happening for 10 years, and I realize that's because Henry is 10, but, like, it's been happening for 28 years. Spoilers, there are flashbacks shown in Storybook before Henry gets there, showing that time hasn't moved, but it wasn't just, like, nothing. I don't know if I'm explaining that well. Yeah. Also, you are way more harsh on the ratings than I would be, because I'm just biased. I love the show. And I'm, like, trying to get past this, like, I'm a hopeless romantic. I love the episode Snowfalls. It makes me so happy. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say right now. I don't really know how it works since I'm behind and I'm catching up, but yeah. I love the podcast. I am the biggest fan of Once Upon a Time. Yeah, that's it.
That's how I would end it too, if I called into the show.
It was literally perfect. That was exactly. So we literally just talked about, if you're restarting the show and watching from before and you want to watch or call in ahead and let us know things that you've been experiencing, Lucas is in for a treat because the season gets a lot. Not only the season gets better, but we also start to get into a groove. You know what I mean? Of like how we rate things, we give it. So these issues will work themselves out as she catches up with real time, and I'm very excited for that. But also, I want to point out something before we talk about this. That these two things are things that she doesn't like about how we conduct the podcast and still likes the podcast. And
I know, thank you. I was just going to say thank you for that.
We 100% welcome stuff like this because not everybody's going to like kind of how we do. And also, we also kind of felt that way too. So we changed it a little bit as it went on. But if you have something you don't like, don't feel like when you call in or text us or email us, we're just going to rip you to shreds because this whole thing about the Storybook Daily Mirror and encouraging people to talk to us is so that we can get into some discussion. It's not so that we can just make fun of you for making fun of us. Like, I don't care. Like, we're ridiculous and we laugh at ourselves all the time.
Exactly.
And we totally accept that some people are like, nah, you're totally wrong. And we're like, cool, let's talk about it. That's fun
Tell
to
me
talk
why.
about that. So thank you very, very much, Lucas, for not being afraid to say negative things as well. It's not just the praise Isla and Mackie show. I like that we have some conflict here that we can talk about.
I know, and thank you for sticking around. Thank you for having the ability to be like, this is still a good podcast because we're really proud of it, and we understand that people are going to have different opinions. That's the whole point. That's why we did it. We want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And if everybody was in agreement on everything, it just wouldn't be as fun.
It would be boring. Yeah. And so thank you for...
Listen to us do our numbers. We like argue with each other about it. You're like,
no, literally. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
all the time. I promise, Lucas, it gets better. Our ratings get better. In fact, we have a long stretch of like just loving every single part of everything. So, we eventually got there. I think she's right on the cusp. I think.
I know.
Like
she stuck through a lot.
If it's episode 9, like episode 10 starts a little bit of a trend of like, okay, now we're getting into it. Although it dips down a little bit more. But so this whole thing about thank you for still liking the podcast even though you disagree. That means like a ton to us, and we will continue to listen and respect the things that you don't like about us. Please continue to tell us so that we have stuff to talk about.
Yeah, tell us what's up.
So this thing about the timeline, I love this because there's things that bugged me about the podcast. You keep saying things have been happening for 10 years because Henry's this age, and
we also I think correct that
years.
Almost immediately after.
Well, yes, but I love the fact that the thing that bugs you about the podcast is our number one complaint about the way that the show is written is that the timeline is not clear. It's kind of confusing and hard to talk out loud because even she's like, I don't know if I'm explaining it well. I'm like, yeah, that's the point, is that the timeline is friggin' hard, and it's easy to misconstrue something that someone said and try to apply it to. You have to really like stop down and think about it all to really figure it out, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that's actually kind of a cool part of it, is that it's almost like the way that the Lost, not the spirituality, but the lore behind like what things connect and what don't. Sometimes you have to like stop for a second and be like, wait, what the hell's going on? Because we thought this thing was true. And I think that actually makes for interesting conversation when you thought it was one way and now it's not. It kind of gets into a whole other thing. And I think this show adds almost unnecessary complexity on purpose just to have it feel a little bit, I don't know, exciting. I think to make it complex just for complex's sake is a fun element to me. It adds a little bit of sprinkle on top, right?
You know what else? Do you I don't know why I just randomly have
Oh my God, I love it. Light bulb. Ding.
Do you think Adam and Edward wrote it like this to make us, as the listeners, the viewers, as confused as the people in Storybrooke?
I think that's a very meta, interesting writing technique that they wouldn't be the first people to do something like that.
Are they supposed to like scramble us just like
because
citizens of Storybrooke are?
I've suggested that they try to make Emma, who is technically in a literary sense supposed to represent us. I don't believe in magic. She's the outsider, right? Who's not in this world. That they make her as frustrated and confused as we would or should feel with the Storybrooke characters if we were in the situation. I think that's not a big stretch, that they would be scrambling everything in a big pot, because it's supposed to be a little weird. Because don't forget, if we're supposed to be looking at it through Emma's eyes, things would, even after it's explained and proved, it would still be a little weird. It would still be a little bit wonky. So I actually think it's a really good theory. because the timeline is one of those things that like, otherwise, why would they go through all this trouble of flashing back out of order, for instance? They didn't have to. You know, they could have told the story in a way that was more linear. But they did it in that way. So why are they revealing things to us all spotty like that? Like, is that the way that Emma would be gathering information as she, you know, like that's a cool idea. I think that is probably true on some level. If it wasn't the original intention, I'm sure they eventually started to find that pattern too, and started to
happened along the way,
like kind of lean into it a little bit, you know. And then the second thing Lucas talks about is being harsh on the ratings. But I love, again, that it's not just like, you didn't feel the way I felt, and so I don't like you for it. The reasoning here is because, like, I'm just biased. I love this show, and I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm just trying to get past the fact that I'm a hopeless romantic. Like, it's funny because once we get later in the seasons, we end up in that place too. Like leading up to episode 10, we got the hopeless romantic stuff. And then I remember that it dipped down after that because we were really, really struggling on a personal level with all the infidelity and all of the like back and forth with these characters we're supposed to really be rooting for. And it felt dirty. It didn't feel right. And then once that stuff goes away, you see in the chart, there's a huge spike and it stays up at 4 and 5 for the rest of the season.
I know.
You know what I mean? I think we were really just, we could actually see I'll show you.
Our internal struggle.
Look at this. You can see like in the beginning, we were like, it's great. In the beginning, we started, I just pulled up the chart for those of you on YouTube. I guess there is a way I can pull this up, but I don't actually know how to do it.
I think we were extremely conservative.
We started with a 3-5-3 on the pilot.
Because we
didn't know where it was going to go.
How do we want to do this? Yeah. Like, I think, Episode 2 was something. Oh, sorry, that's episode 2 because we didn't do the ratings. I don't think like this in episode 1. Episode 2 is 3-5-3. Episode 3, you gave it a 1.5. Is the lowest that any episode has gotten. We were like, what's going? I gave it a 2. I'm a bitch.
That's the one that got cut up and rewritten and was just a bad episode because it was
the Jane Espenson episode. Yeah, I remember that.
And then from there we really start to climb. We end up in the 4s. We end up really steady in the 4-5s, and then we end up at episode 9, which is the one Lucas is on right now, and that's the 3-5 where we start to go down. Then we hit that first 5-star episode, and then immediately after that it goes to like 3-7, then 3-2 and 3. And then it wobbles back and forth between the 4, like 4, 3-7, 4.4, a 4 and a 3.5, like kind of moderate. And then for the last, from 17 on to the rest of the season, it was just all 4s and like high 4s and 5s. And we're still getting that in season 2. So like we really had that dip after 10. It was like really like on its way down and then like a little better and then on its way down again. You could see that struggle visually.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that started to go away, which is basically what happened to Frederick was 17. So as soon as I think, wait, am I wrong about that? Hold on. I'm pretty sure it was season 1, or was it 14? It was 13, 14. So then it was Dreamy and then Red Handed, which we loved. And then Hat Trick was 17, and that's when it started to really turn. And then we got into Regina's backstory and all that stuff, and the end of the season started to really make sense because they weren't really pushing and pulling anymore. It was a little bit more, solid. I don't know why I just turned into a Smurf. All of a sudden, my camera just went completely blue. It's ridiculous. We're getting there. All right, white balance. Get a hold of yourself. So yeah. Anyway, what I'm saying is, the fact that the reasoning here is being a hopeless romantic skews your stuff into the positive, I think is really, really cool.
We love that.
Because
we accept that.
That makes perfect sense as to why you would, be rooting for the characters in certain ways and be a lot more lenient towards the things we were having problems with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you were a hopeless romantic and you didn't have the sheer trauma of the infidelity with us, wouldn't you be like, I don't care about Abigail or Catherine. I want Charming and Snow to be together, and I'm a hopeless romantic, so them being together, and you're not, thinking about that other stuff, those would skew way higher for you because their love story getting into it is beautiful. If you took Catherine out of the mix, their love story is great. It's the on again, off again. Will they, won't they? Things are keeping them apart, but clearly things are drawing them together. That's gorgeous. Adding the Catherine thing messed us up, but it won't mess up everybody. It's also fake. No. And it's not just fake because it's a TV show. Like, literally, the love triangle was fake. It was a fake curse.
It was a part of the curse. Yeah.
So like I can see why people would be like, oh, that's not real. So it's not real cheating because it's, you know what I mean? Because it's not.
It's just hard to watch.
It's just for us, it's hard to watch because we have a hard time compartmentalizing because we need therapy, but that's a whole separate thing. So actually it makes perfect sense that someone would think that we were being a little bit harsh on it. So I'm actually excited to see, how this comes around once they catch up, like I want Lucas, please call us back when you get to like 18. Like once we start talking about, 17 was rough because Sebastian Stan, that's when we start getting the crossroad with Emma, where she starts to become a problem for us that not everybody agreed with, which is fine. So you're probably, if you think we're harsh back then, you're probably going to think we're also being harsh on Emma. But we do try, at least, no matter our opinion, we do offer this to people, is that we don't do things for shock value. We don't do things because we think it's the popular thing that's going to happen. Everybody's going to hate Emma, so we hate on her too. We're not doing this fake radio thing where we create characters and hate on stuff for fun. We are giving reasoning,
our honest opinion,
reasoning behind everything, and a practical reasoning. And within that, even between the two of us, I think we're also finding that we're convincing each other of the other side of the coin and going, oh, well, I kind of see, so we're at least open that while we give our reasoning is up to not just interpretation, but up to change. It's always fluid, right? So we can be, what I'm saying is your hosts are easily convinced. We can be, if we get into a reasoning conversation and you're like, oh, I didn't consider that, we will 100% about face and just be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll give you that part of it. And this part bothered me, but now it's different.
Yep.
So please, not just Lucas, everybody, come to us with your things that you disagreed with. I think are going to be the juiciest of conversations, because we are not going to try we're not going to try and convince you why you're wrong and we're right. We're going to try and take all of those opinions and put them in one big pot and see if we all can't come up with something different together.
Right.
So thank you, Lucas, for that great voicemail.
Thank you. We almost had nothing.
That was amazing. Like right at the last second, came in clutch, which was so awesome. Just happens. Oh, well, it wouldn't have been last second because we would have been recording this on Wednesday or something. We would have gotten it anyway. But all right, so that's our Storybook Daily Mirror. We don't have any reviews this week, so please go, if you haven't already, take a few seconds to go into Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review, and write us a little message in why you liked the show. And if you do, we will read that as part of our next Storybook Daily Mirror.
Yeah, and if you don't have an Apple device, steal one of your friends and leave a 5-star review from their phone. If you've already given us a 5-star review, also steal one of your friends and do it pretending to be them. That would be helpful too. We're trying to get the show seen by more people, and one of the ways, obviously, if you would like to take a screenshot of you listening to it on your phone and post it on your social media, that would be great. But one of the easiest ways for us to find people like Lucas, random people that just stumble onto our podcast, is to get more reviews in so that iTunes actually shows our podcast to more people. Because if we get more popular like that and they see more reviews and they see more people listening to it, it will give us a lot more leverage to be able to legitimately bring people onto the show to interview and stuff and do that. It's an easier case to make if we appear to be seen on Apple. So your Apple Podcast reviews actually do make a really, really tremendous difference. So if you Jonathan, your time is coming.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Jonathan as well. Jonathan will be our first one. Well, we already had Jordan, but Jonathan will be our next one. So if you have a couple seconds to do that in an Apple 5-star review plus text message review,
we would love you so much.
We would love you. Storybook Daily Mirror, everybody. Yay. All right, so we're going to whiz through this pre-show and then get into the actual watching of the show, because for today, a very unique situation we're in. We have to record the entire episode in one day, and this is very difficult for us to do because we like to talk.
I know.
We're going to try. We're going to whiz through this stuff. So first of all, let's just talk about some show information here. So we're in season 2, episode 5. The episode is called The Doctor. For the most part, the character backstory is the Evil Queen. We're going to get into the outlying backstory. This is a huge episode. I was going to keep that to ourselves, but let's just put this out there. This is a really, really big, not in the mainstream character way that you're thinking, but we are going to get some pretty big reveals in this show. So we are going to do some kind of adjusted versions of the pre-show so that we don't want to give too much away before we watch it, because it was actually, we felt so impactful, this reveal being done in the way that it is, that we didn't want to also give away the gag in the pre-show. I think we're going to see it pretty much right away when we first start watching, but
this is just one of those ways where we explained how we wanted to handle spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
It's very loosey-goosey. It's kind of how we feel and what we feel is important to keep and what is okay to spoil. You know what I mean? This is one of those things where we like just really want to keep it.
I will say this. I think we can say, because we talked about this last week in the promo, that the character backstory is Evil Queen and Dr. Whale is the doctor that is being referred to here.
Yeah.
So
the only other doctor we know besides
yes.
Doc.
And we said that in the promo last week, like Dr. Whale, like what is it gonna? Because the whole promo had his face all over it. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into some cool stuff here. October 28th, 2012. Why don't I see? I didn't know either that we were on Halloween time, or else I would have made some spooky Halloween noises.
I have spooky Halloween nails.
You do have. We didn't talk about that too. You got your nails done for vacation, and you got Halloween stuff. And
I was gonna do something like cute for like the 50th because I won't actually be there for the 50th anniversary. Right. But then when I got there, I was like, I want to do spooky. So I have a little Mickey ghost, and I have a little Mickey pumpkin.
Oh my god, love it!
With some cute black stars.
So October 28th, 2012, obviously right on top of Halloween, and every TV show in their season does this right around the end of October, right around Thanksgiving, right around Christmas. They're having a holiday episode, so this is a Halloween episode.
Like a TV show.
Like real time.
They are my all-time favorite episodes.
It's so nice to be kind of grounded in where you are in time, especially when you're doing rewatches. You're like, oh, I know the state of the minds of the people who are watching. Like during Christmas time, like what, how the story's always really hokey and campy, but like where you are in the season, especially once Christmas is done. Like what happens right after that, it's still cold, it's
the 2000s holiday episodes for all TV shows are the 90s Disney Vacation episodes.
Yes. It's too cold in Chicago, so we're going to take Family Matters to Disney World. Like that kind of stuff. I mean? Absolutely. So
like
October...
Gossip Girl Thanksgiving episodes. There was a Thanksgiving episode for almost every single season of Gossip Girl, and they're some of the best.
Oh, yeah, of course. I agree for a lot of stuff. We also just breezed right by our 1 year anniversary. Like the show's 1 year.
We're going to celebrate it in real time, though, for this show.
But the episode that would have been 1 year from season 1 would have already passed a couple episodes ago. This was co-written. It was Edward Kisses and Adam Horowitz, our OGs. And it was directed by Paul Edwards, whose name I recognize. Why do we know him? Let's see. Let's look. That Still Small Voice. Looks like the only one. That Still Small Voice was Jiminy Cricket. So we have that. Let's see. As I recall, That Still Small Voice is, episode 5. Since I happen to have it up. Episode 5 got a 4 and a 4.5 rating. So we did like that episode. Okay, so it had 9.89 million was last week's ratings. This one has 9.85 million. So we're still riding the hype train.
Pretty consistent.
Yeah, I like that. The synopsis: while Regina continues to try and stop using her magic in an attempt to win back Henry's affections, she begins seeing what she believes is a ghost from her past. And when Mary Margaret and Emma discover a lone survivor from an ogre massacre, Emma begins to question whether or not he's telling the truth. So there's a lot of vague stuff going on here. A ghost from her past, a lone survivor. We're getting a lot of I like that they're being a little bit coy about, this.
They're like, who do you think it is?
Trying to give it away, yeah. Because I know, actually. Meanwhile, in the fairy tale land, Regina finds herself failing at learning the dark arts from a dark master because something from her past is preventing her from using her magic for evil. This is also interesting, too.
If only that kept up.
We already knew that the dark master was Rumpelstiltskin, and even then they wouldn't say his name. They said a dark master. So they're really being like... So even
Voldemort?
Even...
Can you not say it?
I mean, he's a dark master. The dark master.
It's like Beetlejuice. If you say Rumpelstiltskin, he's going to show up. Like, why do we have to say dark master?
So it's actually kind of cool that even they are being a little bit vague. So I feel a little bit validated that we are also trying to attempt to be vague.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some production notes. So these are our behind the scenes elements, observations and hidden things, Easter eggs, etc. That go on in production while they tape the show.
Yeah.
This first one.
Here, do you want me to go?
No, yeah, I do. So we are changing the format a little bit. After last week's debacle with me having to step off and do other things, we found that Isla was actually really good at doing some of these things. So now we were like, oh, I was like killing it. And I was like, why haven't we done this the entire time? So
I'm going to actually show up and co-host this podcast.
No, that's not why. It was
let's
just,
go.
we thought it would be more exciting for you to hear both of our voices instead of hearing my driveling voice the whole time. So yeah, we're gonna share duties now, and we're gonna do a little Regis and Kelly kind of action here, right? Like kind of do it back and forth. I like it.
So Regina, the doctor, and Jefferson are in Cora's heart vault. After the doctor inspects the heart, the walls of the vault begin to close in. Regina asks Jefferson to use his hat, but he replies that there is not enough room. After the doctor and Jefferson stop the walls of the statue, the ceilings begin to descend. This is very Haunted Mansion vibes.
It is.
Eventually, Regina masters teleportation and saves them.
So this is a deleted scene, what she just described here. I didn't.
Did Regina inherit Cora's heart vault? Like, was that just like passed down? How does one acquire multiple heart vaults?
I think I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to see. So we alluded to this last week too, right? Last week was Rumple. We saw Rumple pull somebody's heart out. And the week before that, I said Rumple's going to train Regina. We've already seen Regina pull the heart out. We've also already seen Cora pull the heart out. I'd like you all to make some connections there. Thank you. So I think that I think you're right. I think part of some of those inheritances, right, have passed along. The heart vault in Storybrooke, don't forget, was created by the curse. But there was a heart vault in her castle, like the mausoleum, right? But there was a heart vault in her castle because we saw that with Graham when she did the thing with Graham. So and it would be assumed that the connecting tissue between like Cora making Regina the queen, then we don't see Cora by the time Regina is killing Leopold. Like Cora's not around anymore. Like, so there's some stuff we're missing in those gaps, right? So we don't know if this castle really used to be Cora's or she. Like we need to go back in the history and connect some of those things that we've already seen.
Yeah.
Because we don't know if it's Cora's heart vault or if Regina got the idea from Cora, made her own. Like we don't have the answer to that yet. So I don't know if it's the heart vault, but I would assume she's just doing the same thing that Cora did to get power, right? She's just following in her mother's footsteps. So there's a lot of like connective pieces, especially around it being heart stuff, knowing that Rumple can do it too. We're going to see a little bit more of that. So the next one is the title card. Features lightning. So that's exciting. But the most exciting part about it is that it is the first title card that is in black and white. And actually, I'm going to make a little adjustment so that you can talk about this now, because this is why that title card being in black and white is important. It's like it kind of actually really exciting.
Yeah, so we're heading into a new land, a land without color, just like Storybrooke is a land without magic. So, this whole entire episode is going to be in black and white.
It's only
which
2
is so
episodes.
Perfect for how this plays out.
Oh, I love it. I do, like, really just creative chef's kiss. It's only 2 episodes because I actually looked up there was a timeline wiki page for like the Land Without Color stuff, and they are going to bounce back and forth between the 2 episodes. Episode 5 and episode 12 are all going to be going into the Land Without Color thing, because there's only a few characters that exist in this Land Without Color. It's not like a really expansive world, but this is also the first time that we establish that the Enchanted Forest and the Land Without Magic are not the only 2 lands that exist. We kind of had some characters talk about it a little bit, but we've never actually had an additional land be named or explored. So we're actually going to not even talk about what it is, but we're actually going to go to it, which is freaking awesome. All right, moving along. You can just do them. That's fine.
So some observations.
Yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin instructs Regina to kill a unicorn by crushing its heart.
Oh my God.
But she refuses because it's innocent. This is terrible. Is it Celtic or Celtic?
It's Celtic.
In Celtic and European mythology, unicorns are traditionally associated with innocence and purity.
Which is interesting because it's European mythology, which is also put into Harry Potter, right? In first movie of Harry Potter, the body that is, Voldemort is haunting goes and eats a unicorn. I think in the book, killing a unicorn was one of the ways that he made a Horcrux. So
thank you, Dr. Bart.
Dr. Bart, everybody.
I had a cut on my finger, so he just came and
oh wow,
look this is for the YouTube
expert work. Yeah, if you want to see Dr. Bart come in and do his expert work, go check out the YouTube. So that tracks with most magic things in general. We can, just skip this whole next one. Well,
It's a
Oh
whole
my
thing about, Regina is in the rain. The rain is created by a huge crane with a rain curtain. Okay, rain's not a real word anymore. A hollow tube
Okay,
with
so
nozzles along it shoots water. Oh my gosh. Okay,
this
rainfall,
is
rainfall.
this is a real thing. This is all they're describing is how they make rain on sets in general. They like put water in a tube and they shake it, and that's how rain comes out. For like light rain. They also have like really aggressive sprinklers for when it's supposed to be pouring, but this is one of those just like it's a hollow tube with water and they shake it out. But I think this I want to skip this part just because I don't want to give this away yet. Okay. Anyway, there's characters, there's some body doubling going on, and then there's a costume that's reused again.
Moving
by a character that we've already seen, but we're gonna just it's fine. It's all separate. I didn't actually read this next one, but it's probably good. We're doing this live, guys.
So we have some reused footage.
Footage
from the establishing shot of the Mills Mausoleum. I didn't know that's how you spelled that. At the beginning of the scene where Regina searches for Daniel's body, was reused for the scene where Regina searches for the curse of the empty-hearted in Welcome to Storybrooke, but with a warmer color hue.
Curse of the Empty-Hearted is... What is it? General information? Oh, wait. This is it appears in the 17th episode of the second season, so we haven't even seen what the hell
we haven't even gotten to that yet.
Oh, Curse of the Empty Heart is a thing she has to go for. Yeah, it's one of the curses that isn't involved in this whole mess. And the characters talk about it in episode 17. So what this is, I hate that they do it this way. What they're saying is footage that's in this is going to appear in a future episode. And Welcome to Storybrooke is episode 17. So these are both references to future episodes, which is fine. Anyway, the footage will be reused of the mausoleum. I'm assuming this Mills Mausoleum is probably in the Enchanted Forest. I don't know, whatever. It's fine. This is one of the cool things about production notes is that we do this and then we're like, well, we'll like figure it out when we see it because it's only part of a scavenger hunt clue, Yeah. And so we have to kind of put the pieces together and it's nice because everybody gets to put the pieces together with us because we really don't know what these things are referencing until they hit us in the episode. And I guess, the last observation is that the episode ends on a flashback, and this is the first one that does that. I actually deleted the rest of it, but it's going to happen in a few more episodes, but they're not for another couple seasons. But this is the first one that actually will not... Usually you have a flashback, and then it ends on, like, a current thing that has to do with the flashback. Yeah. This is the first one that actually ends on something that happened in the past, which is kind of... I want to see how they use that in a literary sense, Cool. Are you good?
Oh my gosh, sorry. I was just reading the wiki and saw one production note that's not in here. It's a sad one. This episode marks the final appearance by actor Sebastian Stan as the Mad Hatter and Jefferson. He departed the series due to his obligations to the Broadway play Picnic and the Marvel feature film Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh my God, we're actually catching up with Marvel movies now? I can't believe I missed that too. I'm so sorry. I would have been really upset if I had totally missed that.
I know, and we missed his birthday, so I feel like we owe our homeboy Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, so we dropped the episode on his birthday. I think the last one.
I feel as though, even though I think that this deserves that special audio right now.
Yours or the pour one out for our homies one?
The pour one out for our homies one.
This right here. Yeah. This goes out to all our fallen homies, yo. Come on.
This goes out to our.
This goes to you, Sebastian Stan. We love you so much.
We love you so much. Where is that?
Going back into the real production notes. It's in the production episode of the production section of the wiki page.
Why did I see this? I'm so upset.
Right, Rumpelstiltskin's witch in training replacement Trish bears a resemblance to Esmeralda from Disney's 1996 film The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I don't know who this bitch is, but I got to tell you, I saw this and I was like, I want to say that so that when we hit it in the episode, I'm gonna be does see her?
Yeah. We'll take a look because she has a very unique look. So I want to see if it does have a resemblance.
Yep.
And then speaking of our boy Jefferson, he returns from a journey with information about a pair of magic slippers that can transport someone between worlds, which is obviously a reference to the slippers from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And then if we couldn't get any more literal, Jefferson returns from Oz with a crystal ball, a reference to the 1939 film The Wizard of Oz. Wow. Thank you for clarifying that,
Oz?
Wikipedia.
Yeah. I really like it. Sorry. Yeah, I really like the Wizard of Oz references in general. Just I like that his part of the fairy tale stuff is the really kooky part, you know, like Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz are like the real, really out there ones. So I like that they also connect those two, because those are the two biggest like acid trip ones that we know of. Because like, you know, Snow White and Hansel and Gretel are all very like kind of practical. They're cautionary tales and all this stuff. Even things like The Little Mermaid, we're like, okay, we're getting into like a fictional character, sure, but it's not quite as like somebody was on drugs when they made this one. and these two are probably the biggest offenders, which I not offenders, they're the biggest ones that do that. And I love that they, in this show where you can connect, you know, Mulan also knows Sleeping Beauty. I really like that that's the on the kooky side that's the connection that they made. So sweet. What else? Not too many.
Interrogating Hook, Emma. Oh, so this is when Hook and Emma meet. Interesting.
Oh yeah.
So much for fortune favoring the brave, referencing to the Latin phrase. I'm not reading this one.
Dentes for Svana.
There needs to be a letter in between T and V. Are we kidding right now?
Sure does. Latin is stupid.
Quoted in Virgil's Latin poem. Oh my God. Anyway, Latin. There's some Latin in this episode. When Regina is embracing Daniel's dead body in the enchanted forest, heavy sentence, he is seen breathing multiple times and blinking.
That's a goof. So
that's a goof.
The actor
That's a good one. We're gonna watch for that.
I'm excited to watch for that. The Latin thing is cool because like pirates would have been, you know, very superstitious. And being superstitious, they also would have been, it was at a very, very religious time as well. So we would have had not only superstitions, but a lot of like, you know, God will do something with your soul when you die kind of thing. And so so Latin would have been a big part of their, I think, day-to-day lives as well, at least knowing it. And fortune favoring the brave. I think it also is, it was the last words of this Roman philosopher. It's a poem in Aeneid, I think is how you pronounce that. And I think he dies after that, right? So much for fortune favoring the brave ends up being his last words. And I think that almost gives Hook a little bit more of an intellectual flavor there, that he would know something like that. It makes Hook feel to me more like a leader, more like a, you know, that he would have stuff like that to pull from.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we saw his wordplay with an opponent was very, very top tier with Rumpelstiltskin. You know what I mean? Like it's not just brute force. It's not I'm scary because of how I look or how I physically move around. It's because of how I think and how I can cunning, you know, like this cunning brain. And I think this is a little bit leaning into that cunning brain, you know, cutting lips kind of thing with Hook, that he's not the bumbling fool in the cartoon we know of. And even Dustin Hoffman, I don't think, was quite as eloquent, or he was. We saw him with glasses on and reading books, and so we do get a little bit of
he was more like traditional scary, though, I think.
Yes, I agree.
And then cartoon Hook was an absolute moron. So, yeah.
Yeah, the cartoon Hook felt more, it's just slapsticky because that's what we're used to. You know, like that's the villain has to also like fail because they mess up, right? They like fumble on themselves or something. So, and Hook was very much like that. He gets chased out, and like the way that in the movie he ends up getting overpowered by the people, right? It's the people take it back. It feels a lot more real. And so even that ends up being, I think, a little bit more relatable. You know what I mean? And there's way more stuff that happens with Hook. So yeah, we'll get there. And I do like, I didn't even pick up on that when I actually pasted this in, that Hook and Emma are in the same sentence, and that didn't even occur in my brain to be like weird. And I was like, oh shoot. So we do have, we missed for 2 weeks, we have a section that we had to skip because there were no references to it. And now we go back to it. We have one, not a ton of them, but we have one. So the creators of the show, they were executive producers on Lost, and Once Upon a Time, because of that, is filled with Easter eggs and references to the show creators' old show. So in this episode, this segment is called What's in the Hatch. So
Maggie, tell us what's in the hatch.
If you hear that sound, then you'll know that we are referencing what is in the hatch for this episode. And what's in the hatch is one single reference to the numbers in Lost, which is the 4, 8, 15, 16, 22, 23, 46. I probably got one of those wrong. And so this...
Held it.
Did I? I don't know.
I don't know.
42. The 40 one always messes me up.
Yeah.
I just like to do those to give the Discord an excuse to be like, no, it's this, to be mad at me. So Henry Mills' horse. I'm assuming they're talking about Daddy Mills, perhaps. Whatever. Henry Mills' horse.
Does baby Henry have a horse?
I was gonna say, or access to a stall.
Why is this the first time we're hearing about it?
Yeah, the stall that the horse is in is number 8, which is one of the lost numbers. So we'll try and hopefully pull that out if we should happen to see it. Speaking of which, we're at the point of the show where we get to watch the episode, and we have some features during our watch party that we go over if you're watching along. So the first one is a drinking game that we like to play. We have that drinking bell that we sound off when we have a drinking moment. A lot of like kind of goofy things. Anytime someone uses magic, anytime someone... We've been slacking on the using magic thing because I think we're so entranced in the episode, so I got to get a little bit better about that. But certain references to things, anytime, it's a lot of Rumple ones. I think that's really where we started with this. Anytime he giggles or says magic comes with a price, whatever.
Apple references. Emma's jacket, the yellow bug. Anytime we see the Storybrooke sign.
Yeah. So if you hear the sound, then that is your normal drink. We have a light version of that, which is like a clink. It's like a little bit of a cheers, like a toast. Just a reference to our production notes things or something that we may have just discussed and been like, hey, we wanted to look out for XYZ. And so not a full drink, but just like, oh yeah, it's that thing. Then we also have a sound to signify that I am playing and pausing the episode so that you can kind of follow along as we start and stop. It sounds like that. So if you hear that sound, then you know that I am pausing the episode or starting again or whatever. If you happen to maybe be syncing the episode with us, you can watch the visuals. We also have a familiar voice that we can bring in just in case we need him. Sir, would you like to make yourself known?
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Mr. Will Smith.
Thank you, Will Smith.
Is that you? Friend of the show, familiar voice, Will Smith.
Familiar voice.
He will be alerting you that it's time to maybe rewind and either talk about something or actually watch the show when Isla and I talk over everything like we always do. All right, so that's almost it. Oh, we have one big moment that will be signified by all of the clapping and sound in the world.
The chug of all chugs.
The chug
every
moment.
Episode.
The chug moment will be when we make the reference to the episode's title, which is the Doctor. I'm not even going to say what the characters are. There's 2 characters.
We don't ever.
We don't, but for some reason it pasted over this time, and I'm kind of upset about it. But I think it was to say that it was 2 different people saying both lines. I think that's why they had to include it, because it wasn't one straight line. So someone says,
Person 1.
Yeah, you're the wizard, and then the second person says, I prefer Doctor. So there you go. That's our big chug moment, which is going to be really exciting. And then I have a secret one that I told Isla not to look at. Hopefully she can't see it on my screen share right now. But there's
I have my notes pulled up, but I have not read it.
Okay, so there's an exciting one that we're going to go through in the show that is a very, very cool piece of like production note backstory that I didn't include in because it was going to be a big spoiler. But it's a reference to some naming things. So when we get there, I will pause and say that. So now, very exciting. It's actually even more exciting for us because this is usually the point where we stop recording and record another day because we've recorded like a 3-hour episode or something. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to stop the YouTube recording, which I don't even say sometimes. I'm just like, just stop. Also, I look like a Smurf again. So
we come back every week anyway. We're not goodbye forever.
So you can continue listening to the show on your favorite podcast app. So we're gonna let you go